So how pregnancy works or how giving birth works is do you understand female anatomy like at all?
No. Why would I need to? I'm not a doctor or a woman.
I noticed you haven't complimented me on my Christmas decorations yet. You've been here for like an hour and you haven't said anything about.
Oh.
What do you think? They're nice.
Yeah, they're pretty Christmassy. No,
Okay.
I'm just kidding. They look great. It looks great.
Really hard on them.
I'm impressed.
Just kidding.
Did you buy all these ornaments?
No, they're super, super old. You know, like when you probably don't, but when you go to the DI and you get like a kitchenware from like the 80s or like the 70s and they have like mercury painting in them, so they're kind of poisonous. That's probably these ornaments too.
That's good
They're
for
really, really old. I
having
know.
a child in the
Well,
house.
I was pregnant last year when we were decorating the tree and I wouldn't touch any of them. I made jump
really?
do all of it. I was like, I don't want to get mercury poisoning. I think that's what it is.
I
like the
believe you.
lead paint or something like that along those lines.
Wow.
But they're really old, most of them.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then
I'm
some
glad
of them
I'm
are
sitting next to them so
you got it. Just
closely
inhale
and
it.
breathing it in.
Some of them are like that one's my first Christmas ornament.
Baby's first Christmas, 1998.
Okay, that's enough.
Whoa.
Oh my God, I forgot to tell you. Yesterday, I took Ava climbing. She goes to that she's on the climbing team. My little sister, who's 8, and she learned how to belay, where you just for everyone who doesn't know, when you
carry them up.
carry
You
them up the wall.
save them.
You're in charge of them not falling.
Yeah.
And so she learned how to do that yesterday for her team. And so I'm talking to the coaches. They're all I don't know, adults. And I'm like, oh, can you belay me up the wall now? And she goes, no, I can't belay a 27-year-old. And I'm like, I'm 25. Why are you clocking me? She's like, no, I can't belay a 27-year-old. I'm
and it's
25 years old.
It's pretty close though, but and it's also not an age thing. It's because she probably weighs 18 pounds.
Probably. That's actually how much my baby weighs.
Really? Mm-hmm. That's all?
Yeah.
Wow.
She's actually big for her age.
Really?
She's in the 90th percentile, I think. But her head's in the 30th, which is so funny.
So that means she has a small head? Or okay.
She's got a little head.
I get confused about
and chunky
percentiles.
legs.
Yeah.
Which is good. I love chunky babies, and she's the cutest thing I've ever seen. Not that I'm biased.
Yeah, of course not.
No, I'm not biased. I was going to ask you, I wanted to, before we get started, guess each other's Spotify raps. Since that was the other day.
Okay.
Do you have Spotify?
No, but I
have
got
Apple Music.
Yeah, but I got one.
Jesus Christ.
What?
You have Apple Music?
Yeah.
So you don't do Spotify Wrapped?
Well, it gives you Apple Music Replay. It was better this year, but it's usually pretty bad.
It's not the same as Spotify Wrapped.
But I know my stats. Yeah.
Okay, let me guess your top 5 artists.
You're gonna go through all 5.
I'm gonna guess a few. I can't think of that many. Okay, Drake.
No.
Really?
I don't like Drake that much.
Oh. Really?
No,
You look. Do you remember I said to someone once, I was like, you look like you'd like Drake. And they go,
it
I
was
do.
Ricky, right?
Yeah, it was our friend Ricky. And I was like, you look like you'd like Drake. And he's
He
like, I do.
loves
I love Drake.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's so funny.
So not Drake. Okay. AC/DC was
No.
for some reason.
That's really close.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I had a feeling. I don't know.
No.
I had an AC/DC feeling.
Yeah.
I don't think you like EDM.
No, I don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Drake and AC/DC were my
That's
two.
your two
Yeah, that
guesses?
was the 2 I had. Kendrick Lamar
No.
was another. Oh, okay.
No.
Well, then I don't know.
I don't. I listen. My top. I don't remember. My top 3 were Led Zeppelin,
Okay.
Baby No Money, and Billy Joel.
I was close with. Oh, not Baby No Money. I was thinking Baby Keem.
Oh
I
no.
was like, I'm close.
He
though.
was in mine last year, but that's close with
You know,
Kendrick.
I saw Baby No Money with Young Gravy. Last year.
Oh, I just barely went to that. I was like, were you with us?
No,
But-
no, you guys went to it this year. I
Yeah.
went last year, and he was with Young Gravy because they work together, whatever, collaborate.
Mm-hmm.
Young Gravy was a shit show.
Yeah, that's what Abby told
He
me.
was. Yeah, I went with my sister, and he was a shit show.
Yeah.
And I feel like Baby No Money was kind of sick of him at some point because he
He's
was
like,
just looking at him
Get it
falling
together.
all over the place, and he's just looking at him like, what the fuck are you doing? It was crazy.
That's so funny.
But I still love Young Gravy. But yeah, he was a shit show.
Yeah.
That's all. Okay.
I'll guess yours. I'm gonna guess one. Number 1 is Taylor Swift.
Yes.
Number
is.
2, is it Harry Styles?
He's in the top 5.
Okay.
I don't know if he's number 2. He might be number 2. I think he's 3 though. Oh no, he's not number 2.
Is it Chapel Roan?
No, good
Yeah.
guess though. Good guess.
I just am saying Abby's.
I
Doja Cat.
no. She's
Fuck.
top song, not top artist.
Really? Which one? Paint the Town Red. That song's good.
Bitch, I said
Except
I said
for Doja Cat
is demonic.
is not demonic.
Oh.
Why would I?
You heard that?
No, she's like a Nazi fan
Oh.
supporter.
Oh no, I did know that actually.
Well, she
She's
just
crazy.
wears a shirt with Sam Hyde on it, who's like a Nazi. So
I did a school play one time. I did Sound of Music, and they.
what
I
a
know.
weird.
Okay.
What are you about to say?
Okay, no, and we did Sound
Speaking
of
of
Music, and they
Nazis.
hung Nazi flags
That's crazy.
during the play,
Really?
and like I guess it is relevant, but why hang the Nazi? I guess it's
Yeah.
part of the story.
I don't know.
But I remember thinking like at the time, like they're just gonna store these somewhere in the school,
just
So
in
there's
case we
like-
need them.
Yeah, like there's just Nazi flags in the
Somewhere.
school somewhere. Yeah. I think about that sometimes. Speaking of Nazis, it's like they just hung those flags and they're
for
just like.
school Okay, who else? Who else do
So
you
I
got?
have Taylor Swift. I have Hozier.
Oh, I would never guess that.
Really,
I don't even know. I don't know what they are. I know you went to a concert for
I
them.
love him.
Him.
Yeah, I probably. Well, I wouldn't leave Jonah for him, but I do really love him a lot.
But you think about it.
I would hesitate for like 5 seconds. I go,
Damn.
no, sorry, and then I think about it for the rest of my life. But Taylor Swift, Hozier, then Harry Styles, then Beyonce,
Oh,
and then
I
my
could've guessed
fifth one is so funny. I almost don't want to say it because it makes me sound like I'm trying to be different and quirky. But it's the soundtrack from Over the Garden Wall. Have you seen that?
No.
I was.
It's
okay.
a soundtrack.
It's
Is
a
is the
soundtrack
most
from a
listened?
Cartoon Network program.
What?
But it's really good.
That's
It's
weird,
like-
dude.
It's like a soundtrack. No one's heard of it, but anyways,
No, that's not quirky. That's just weird. That's like a weird. Why are you listening to that for?
because it's like I don't know. I listen to it a lot in October because it's very like fall and like cozy.
Damn.
But
And
I'm
that's-
really embarrassed that it's made my top 5 artists.
That counts as an artist, just a soundtrack.
I guess so. And they make like the artists like talk like and thank you. Not all of them, but like Harry Styles didn't, which is whatever. But Taylor Swift was like, "Thank you for listening to my music." And then these guys who made the soundtrack did, and you can tell they're not.
Like, hey,
They were like, hi, there's a bee in the camera." And then I was so weird that I was like, I hate this. I mean,
What
I'm sure
the
they're nice,
fuck?
but I was just like, this is so
I didn't.
embarrassing.
I would not think.
I almost didn't share my rap because of the last one. I was like, this is
You
kind of
blank it
embarrassing.
out.
Yeah, like I'm not trying to be different. Please don't look at this one. It's too embarrassing.
That's so funny.
Yep. So that was my Spotify Wrapped. Spotify Wrapped.
Spotify. Yeah. People, this is like the most classism thing ever is when I get made fun of for using Apple Music. That happens every year. All my friends.
Oh, Apple.
Yeah.
Really?
It's crazy. Because
Some people-
it was the first one I saw. It's already on the phone. I was like 16. What was I
It
supposed
is
to
already on the phone.
I used to use Spotify actually, but just the free one. And I would
Oh,
just
yeah.
get ads and stuff. And I'm like,
Spotify, the free version of Spotify is hard.
yeah, it's bad.
They don't even like let you pick songs, I don't think.
No, it's just like Pandora.
You have to like, yeah, it's like Pandora. Yeah, it is. It's like you shuffle and it's like, well, and I don't think even you get that many. Yeah, they limit your skips.
Yeah, you only get like 3 a day.
I get it. Yeah, a day. That's
I
it.
would
That's
have
all
to
you
get
get.
used to just listening to the whole song.
That's all you get.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, I hate transitioning to our subject. I'm always like, da da da. Anyways,
Anyways,
well,
You can
today we're going to talk about childbirth with Dylan because
which is stressful because you sprung this on me like 5 minutes ago.
I was like, I don't know what we're going to talk about. And then I was like, childbirth, which is it's an intense topic, I would say. It's an intense thing to do. It's an intense topic, but I don't know. I felt like it was a good time to talk about it.
Yeah,
Just
because
'cause-
I'll have to know one day
Yeah, you'll have
when
to know
I
one
give
day.
birth.
So, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, you and Avery, is this too personal a question?
No.
Do you guys want kids?
Yeah,
Because I
we
I treat you and Avery like you're already married. I'm like, well, they're just gonna be together forever. So,
It's been already 6 years, so it's fine. Yeah. No, we
so
do want
you
kids.
want kids
Yeah.
at some point. And like, okay, I have to say this. I've told Avery this before. There was a time when Eloise was first born, like a couple months ago, and Avery was holding Eloise, and you like lifted her elbow to like support her.
I did.
Yes.
I don't remember
I was
that.
like, that's so funny, and it was really cute. But it was just like a very gentle, like, here, let me help you. Like, I'll hold your
I don't
elbow.
even remember that.
It was so funny. I was like,
Was I joking or was I just being nice?
you're being very serious.
Wow.
You're like, here, let me help you, my darling. Here's your
Well,
elbow.
I'm just such a gentleman. I do it without even
Sometimes,
thinking. Wow.
not really. But,
What?
But yeah, that was nice. And also, what else was I gonna say? When Eloise was born, and how like stressed you were about holding a
Oh, yeah.
baby was so funny.
Yeah, it's scary
It's
because
very.
because people are like, you hold the baby and if you let go, like there's no more
That-
baby anymore. You know, that's what I was taught. Like when you got that one baby, you know, that fake baby.
I never got one of those.
Oh, really?
Abby did.
It literally traumatized me.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
scary.
'cause you hold it and then like if you let go of the neck, it just wails.
Yeah,
so
I do
loud.
remember that about Abby's. Like the way that baby cried was the scariest
Yeah, it's like
thing. It's like,
screaming.
oh yeah, and
Yeah.
like it. I've never heard a real baby sound like those.
Good. Thank
robot
God.
babies. But it is true. It's really scary when you don't have kids holding a baby. Like my friend, she had a baby before me and then she got pregnant around the same time as me. But even when I was pregnant and holding her baby who was a couple months old, it was scary. I was like, oh
It's
my
a lot
God,
of pressure.
this is terrifying.
And it's like someone else's kid too. And
yeah, I think that's fair. And then when
Yeah.
I had my baby and you kind of watch the nurses manhandle babies kind of.
really?
And you're
Palming
kinda
them
like,
like a
oh my God.
basketball.
Like, when they like swaddle them, they're very just like,
It's like their
not
30th
rough,
of the
but
day.
they're just
Yeah.
like it's nothing. And then when I started holding my baby, I can like hold any baby now. I'm like, okay, like they're fine. Like
It's easy.
just support their neck and like, but we were kind of mean to Dylan about the baby a couple times.
Yeah, there one time I told him I was scared, and then like there was a bunch of people outside,
That was so
and
funny.
I think you handed me the baby, and I
Uh-huh.
was like, "Oh, cool!" Over concrete, my
Oh
favorite.
yeah, we were
my
outside.
favorite. Yeah, and then there was like 30 people. No, there was like 8 people.
yeah.
And everyone went inside, and I was just stuck out there, holding this baby that
To
I
be
was
fair,
scared
I
of.
was watching you from the window.
Yeah,
But what
I don't care. That doesn't make me feel better.
But what was so funny is you trying to get into shade. It was really sunny out. It was in July, June.
Mm-hmm.
And the sun was kind of out. And you were just like, I watched you just like inch your
Well,
way.
you said I couldn't. The baby, if it was in the sun, it would burn too
That is
bad,
true.
or like something like
Well-
that. I don't remember.
It was very fine. Like you also have to think like, I'm not going to put my baby in danger. Obviously it was fine. Like,
That's I guess, but I was worried about it. It's scary.
it was so funny. But she was fine and you were fine. And now
Yeah.
you guys are like best friends.
Yeah, well now she can hold her head up, which is big, which is all
The
I
day she
wanted.
started holding her head up, that was pretty major.
Yeah,
It's like
thank
a whole
God.
different thing.
Now I'm not as afraid. But yeah,
Newborns
and now we're
versus,
besties
like baby
too.
babies, like it's a very different thing. It's way less stressful
I know. I did not like it.
now that she can support her head.
Now it's better. Yeah,
Yeah.
way better.
Okay.
I told Avery that when we have a kid, I just won't hold it for like 2 months, and then she got mad at me. But
Yeah. How'd that go? How'd
not good.
that go?
Not good for me. But
No.
and now I will, because now I had experience.
You
It's
can
not
do it.
that bad, but it is just stressful.
You just need to practice. And when it is your own baby, it's scarier and also not as scary at the same time.
At least
And
you
I
have
don't-
less stuff to. Well, you have other stuff to worry about. I
Yeah.
mean, than just
like,
break. Well,
They're like you have to. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like they're crying.
that's
That's your
true.
job. Which is also the biggest mindfuck. Like about having a baby. It's all of a sudden they're just there, and you're like, "This is my job." Like, oh my God, it's
That
so
sucks.
insane. It's a crazy experience, which we will get into right now. So we're gonna talk about mostly today the process of birth, and then I'm gonna kind of talk about my experience because I also feel like this is a good one to talk about in general because all you hear when you're pregnant is like horror stories, like terrible stories, or just like it was perfect and it was easy and I just like the baby fell out of my vagina. And, like you only
Like
hear
a
one or the other. And so like I feel like my postpartum was a nightmare, obviously, but the whole process of giving birth was hard and not fun, but it was pretty relatively normal.
yeah.
So I feel like it's like a good like in between gauge. Like you're gonna be okay.
And then sometimes that's so funny to hear about. The people are like, it came out like it was on a water slide.
No,
yeah. And
literally.
you're
Sometimes like I think it was one of my friends even. She's just like, I love giving birth. It was so easy. It was so nice. And I'm just like, I know that's not
Yeah.
gonna be me. Like I need a realistic
my mom
gauge.
My mom was in labor for like 18 hours like you, and I was like
Yeah.
stuck in her rib cage. And
That's
like, yeah, but it was because I was like 11 pounds when I was born. Which
You
is,
were?
yeah, I was big.
Did she like have a C-section or did
Yeah,
She
well, because I
okay.
was stuck in there for like 17 hours, and then they're like, "Fuck it," and they just
That's kind of what
cut
happened to
her
me too. Yeah, it's like, which is also so crazy. Like having to decide between the two is crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, and babies get stuck.
That's crazy.
I
That
know.
sucks.
It
That's
does
like so
suck.
annoying. They should. C-sections seem terrible too, like because they like
They're
take out all your
crazy.
organs, right?
Yeah,
and
they
they
do.
put them to the
I'll
side.
kind of go through, like my experience with the C-section was crazy. So I labored for like a long time, and I was also way overdue. So I ended up also getting an induction, which I'll kind of talk about too, because there's a lot of things about induction that's a little, I don't want to say controversial, but kind of controversial. People are like, don't do them. People are like, they're the best. Like there's lots of different varieties, variations of opinions on it. And then C-section. So I've kind of, with my first, I only have one child, but with my experience, I kind of went through like
Still
the
your
whole thing.
first,
Still my
yeah.
first. I mean, I don't know. After her, I looked at Jonah. I was like, "You're getting a vasectomy," and he's like, "Okay. Here's these hospitals." I like looked up, and I like a couple days later, I was like, maybe not." But I looked him dead in the eye. I go, "I'm serious, Jonah. We're not going to. You're having a vasectomy." And he's like, "Okay, that's fine."
Well, good for him then
Yeah.
to just be down.
He did. Well, I was pretty scary. I'm
Oh,
pretty
really?
Sure. I was like,
Was he more
I'm
like,
not doing
okay,
I don't
okay,
know.
I'm sorry.
He was like, "Here's these hospitals. Like, I'll do it." I'm like, maybe not. Never mind. But okay, so where are we gonna start? We're gonna start the way they taught me in my birthing class. So what you start with is pre-labor, labor, and then birth. So pre-labor is where you kind of start having contractions, but you can have these for like weeks.
Really?
Yes.
That's a
So,
long time.
yeah. So what happened to me, and also you don't know what they're gonna feel like, and if you're pregnant and some people don't trust doctors, and like I get it because I've been there. Pick a doctor you like, because all I did was ask my doctor questions, because the internet will tell you a million different things. And like, for instance, and everyone's different, which is so fucking annoying. And they're like, everyone's different. Everything's different. But for me, I was 41 weeks pregnant. And like at that point, I really liked being pregnant.
41.
Normally you're 40 weeks.
So that's like,
That was a week over.
is that on 10 months? Or I guess it's
Yeah,
like
it's
probably
fucking 10
less
months.
than 9. Less
It's
than
10 months. It's not 9 months that you're pregnant. It's 10 months.
But you don't
find out.
know.
You usually find out like a month later, but I found out early that I was pregnant. I found out at like 4 weeks, I think, which is really not common.
Is this not a month?
I know. Wait, hold on.
4
I'm
weeks.
confused also.
Huh?
So pregnancy technically begins, they count. So when a mom and a dad love each other very much, they
What? And then they
they
pray, and
get
then
together.
the baby goes,
Yes,
and
they
then
get together.
and they pray together.
But that's not really, so them getting together isn't technically when you're pregnant. The pregnancy starts at your first period or at your last period. Because you have a period, then the egg shows up, and then
It falls out whole.
and then the dad greets the egg, let's say,
I think this is more confusing.
Okay.
So
I'm
the egg-
practicing for
so
when I
you-
have to have a sex talk with my
Okay, so from what I'm understanding, you have a period, and that makes
Then
the
you
egg
ovulate.
fall closer.
No. So you have a period, you get rid of all the do you know what? Okay. Let's start with the
period-
basics. Do you understand the cycle of a period?
Yeah, you bleed, and it
Okay.
falls out. The egg, you lay an egg,
Okay.
and it comes.
Okay, so I'm gonna go back to the basics.
Your lining.
So explain the whole month of a period to me.
The whole month? It's
Yeah.
not a month.
Yes, it technically it is. So your
Oh,
period,
but
your whole menstrual cycle, the whole month. What happens in the month?
Okay. So the first week you're just fine. The second week you start to bleed. And then
So-
the third week
The cycle starts at the day after your period. So
the
you
cycle starts.
first you're so 2
Oh,
weeks
so
after
it's
your
right
period,
right after your period, you're ovulating.
you're kind of hanging out. Then a week after that, you're ovulating.
Okay.
So 2 weeks after your period, you ovulate, which is when the egg. Do you know where the egg comes from?
Your ovary.
Yes. And the egg goes down the fallopian tube into your uterus, and it hangs out there and it waits for the sperm to come to make a baby. Okay. So that's really the only
That
time
makes
you can
sense.
get pregnant is when that egg is there.
That's the only time.
Yeah.
So if you're not ovulating, it's
technically-
impossible.
Well, it's not impossible.
But
That's
it's
why
hard.
people don't promote it, because you could like still get pregnant. So people don't want people to always be like
Just
betting
waiting.
on like.
Is there a way to tell that you're ovulating? Or?
Yeah. So when I was trying to get pregnant, it's basically you take the same thing as a pregnancy test. Basically, you pee on a stick, and it tells you if you're ovulating, and then that's when you're supposed to have sex. Which is like, let's not talk too much about that. I don't like that people know I've had sex. I don't like, even though I told that story about the sex panther that one time, I don't like that people know when I
You have a
had
child.
a baby.
That's
I know,
insane.
I don't. Yeah, I
That's
don't
like-
like the connection between the two. Like, I don't like that. It's like she's a baby. That means she had sex.
Someone
like, I
had
don't
it.
like
Yeah.
that. But
That's
so
so
that's
funny.
basically when I was trying to get pregnant. That's what you do. You ovulate for like 3 or 4 days. Then 2 weeks later, you are supposed to have your period. And then if you don't, you take your pregnancy test. Because technically also, you're not supposed to be able to tell if you're pregnant till after, like a week after your period.
But like if let me think about how if the sperm is already on there and you took the test the next day, could you tell?
No, because you have to build up a hormone that's called HCG. HCG. That's the hormone that builds once you're pregnant. And
HCG.
HCG, which like it builds
Hairy
up.
cat gator.
Exactly.
I don't know. What does it stand for?
I don't know actually.
Hormone cat gator.
Exactly.
Is that true?
So you're not supposed to take the test till later, because you can also have a chemical pregnancy, they call it, which is where the chemicals show up, but then the baby isn't really there, and it's like sad when people are trying to get pregnant.
Oh.
So you're not supposed to test till like later. And then once you do get pregnant, once I got pregnant, I took like so many pregnancy tests because the line's supposed to get stronger. Like that
The
hormone
more
builds
baby
up.
there is.
Yeah. Like
Really?
the hormone starts building
Oh.
since there's a baby there. And so I'd take pregnancy tests, and like the line would get like longer or like darker or whatever. I took like 15 pregnancy tests. I took like one each day after I found out I was pregnant.
Really?
Yeah. But
Spent
technically,
a lot of
so
money on
back to-
those probably.
Well, I got like the value pack
Oh, you
because I was trying to get pregnant. I was like, they're like these tiny little ones. But anyway, so your pregnancy technically starts from the period before you ovulate. So that's why it's
Okay.
like 10 months, not 9 months. But you also don't usually figure out you're pregnant till like week like 6 or 8. And I found out at week 4. Like I took the test too. Like they say not to take the test. I took the test because my aunt looked at me and she goes, "Ashley, you're pregnant." And I was like,
Whoa, she
"There's no
clocked
way
you?
I'm pregnant." And she's like, I was like, "I wouldn't be able to tell right now." She goes, "You are. Like, you're pregnant." And I hadn't seen her in like weeks. And she's like, "No, you're pregnant." So I took a test and I 100% was.
Damn.
Isn't that crazy?
Wow, that is wild.
So shout out
Good-
to Amy. Like,
good
for
call.
real. It was crazy.
But she said that's not why it's free. Because I think they messed up. Both times.
If she gives you another free coffee,
It's too
that's
much.
it. Because
But-
the second free coffee is a little sus. to
But
me.
it wasn't like she didn't say anything else besides free coffee.
was like, it's on the house.
No, it was more like, you know what, this one's on the house. Like that. And then she handed it and I was like, "Are you sure?" Because I was like, "I can pay for it." And then she said, "No."
Next time you go in, if she's like, "Oh, hey, Dylan."
She just said my
That's
name.
it.
Then
You
she's
better
like,
go in with Avery next time. You go in
I did
like,
go
this
in
is
with
my
Avery one
girlfriend
time.
Avery.
I don't know if she saw. I don't remember if she was there. I only know it's the same girl because it's the same car.
Okay.
It's in the parking lot.
Avery's not really the jealous type, huh?
I don't think so.
I feel like, well, I'm not with Jonah, but I am for my friends. Does that make sense?
Like, what do you-
Like, if a girl flirts with Jonah, I'm kind of like, oh, okay. Like, he's
Yeah.
probably, A, not going to notice because he's so fucking oblivious, or 2, going to get super uncomfortable. So I don't like, if that happens to Jonah, I'm kind of like, okay, good luck.
Whatever.
But if it happens to one of my friends' boyfriends, I'm just like, like I get angry.
At me or the
No,
girl?
at the girl,
Okay, good.
not
I was like,
you.
I'm sorry.
I haven't done anything.
All I did was get free coffee,
I'm gonna take the,
which is pretty good.
to be fair, I would take the free coffee.
Yeah.
I would take it. But
Well, Allison's more evil. She told me that I should. She's like, next time you go in there, tell her hair's pretty.
oh my god.
And then
so
she's like,
funny.
because then you get the free
You
coffee.
don't get more free coffee.
I wouldn't do
That's
that. though.
funny.
That's mean.
That's so funny. I know. I get so jealous for my friends, but I do not with Jonah. I'm just
Yeah.
kind of like, good luck. There was a
Good
guy
luck.
who
You trust her?
a little off topic
Yeah, because also we started the conversation
halfway through.
before the So
We're
maybe
talking about girls flirting with men. Dylan got a free coffee. Can I clock you? Or I'm
I
gonna
got a
tell.
free, I don't think that she was flirting.
Dylan's gotten 2 free coffees from the same barista.
But I think it was just but also one from a guy. that was not
Dylan's got
flirty with me.
3 free coffees from the same place.
Yeah.
I would keep going there though.
Yeah, to get
I mean, your odds are pretty good
they're
at this point
good.
to get free
It's actually
coffee.
kind of crazy.
That's funny.
Yeah. I think they just keep messing up, and then they're just nice.
What is the coffee place?
Beans and Brew.
Oh.
It's just like a regular.
You should have other people go in and see if they give them free coffee.
Yeah, and see.
Just like a social experiment.
Well,
How
Abby
many
goes
free
there. I'll ask her if she's ever gotten free coffee from there. Anytime,
be like-
anytime, every time I'm excited because I'm like,
So funny. Okay. Well,
yeah.
interesting. Barista better watch your back. Even if Avery doesn't care. I don't know what it is. If it's like my friend's boyfriends, I'm like,
I think that's a good friend. That's
evil.
nice of you.
okay. Back to where were we? We're talking about timing. So I found out I was pregnant really early.
Yeah, yeah.
And then also was overdue. So I felt like I was pregnant for fucking ever. And if you're pregnant and you don't feel that way yet, you will, because I loved being pregnant. Actually, I had a fairly easy pregnancy.
Really? Oh.
I loved it. It was awesome. I loved like feeling my baby kick. I loved like I was really sick the first trimester, but second trimester I was like, this is awesome. I love it. Like I love it. But then, and like third trimester I was like, everything hurts, but I'm fine. And then you hit like week 38, 39, and you're just like fucking done. You're so done with being pregnant. And I gaslit myself. I was like, she's going to be early. She's going to come right at like 39 weeks or 38 weeks. Like, I'm just so excited.
And then.
And she did not at all. So then the other thing that happens is you go to the doctor like every month when you're first pregnant. You go once a month, I think.
That's all? I would think
Yeah.
you'd be going like
And
every
then-
other day.
Right. So
to
then
check.
you start when you get closer to be like the first trimester, you don't go till like, I don't remember, 8 weeks or something. And then you start going once a month to like just do like your little checkups. You don't get an ultrasound until 20 weeks. And that's when they like check everything on the baby, make sure they're good. And then you do whatever. When you get to your third trimester, you go once a week. And when you get
That
to
makes more
35
sense.
weeks, so how pregnancy works or how giving birth works is do you understand female anatomy like at all?
No. Why would I need to? I'm not a doctor or a woman.
So your uterus is what holds the baby,
Okay.
right? You have a
Don't say
cervix,
right. I don't know.
which is the
Sure.
okay, sure. Let's go with that.
Yes.
Uterus is the baby holder.
Mm-hmm.
The cervix is the uterus's door, essentially. That's
Okay.
that's when you have a period. That's where the blood comes out. When you have a baby, that's where the baby's supposed to come out. Didn't work out for me and your mom
Yeah.
that way, but that's where the baby's supposed to come out.
Out of the cervix.
So what happens when you start getting ready to have your baby? This is way more educational than I thought it was going to be.
I'm not very
Well, now
up to
you'll
date.
know.
Yeah.
When you guys go to your birthing class at some point down the road,
I'll
you'll
be
like,
teaching it.
I already know this.
I'll be
I can
like-
teach this.
Avery, I can't make it to the birthing class, and then I'm the instructor.
Excuse me. That'd be so funny. Anyways, so the door to the uterus is the cervix. It's like long. Then as you're about to have your baby, it starts getting shorter, and then it starts opening up. So that's what dilating is. So this is like the opening to your cervix is like this big. You can't see, like it's tiny, the opening. But when you have your baby, it stretches out. And that's when they say like however many centimeters, like 10 centimeters dilated. Have you heard that? So at first, so then you start going to the doctor to check how far along you are, because labor can like pre-labor can start at that point. Like you start thinning. That's when you kind of start having some contractions.
That makes way more sense though about
Yeah.
that. I'm not gonna lie. Wait, this is embarrassing. Can I tell
If you've
you this?
been confused, it's fine.
No, because I definitely thought that when you were dilated, I thought that was just like the vagina was, but that would be crazy if it was like 10 centimeters. It's like this. That makes way more. That makes sense now. I never thought about
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
So you yeah. So up in your vagina.
In the
Up there.
in
so
the
there's
door.
your vagina. Up here, there's like the canal or
Inside,
whatever.
yeah.
And then there's the cervix up at the top of that.
Okay.
Then the uterus. I
Yeah.
don't know why this metaphorical
She's
woman
like
is
8
so
feet
tall.
tall.
But-
That baby is gonna
like
catch some speed on
follow
the,
the bottom
way
of the-
down. It's gonna come out way too fast.
Okay, so you start going to the doctor to check to see how that's going. So I was having contractions for sure, but they were not consistent. It's literally, this was the worst, is you're just waiting and you're like, hey, my contractions are this far away. I went to the hospital to check to see if I was in labor like so many times,
Really?
but I did not. Like 2, but they're so nice to you. Another piece of advice for pregnant women, just go to the hospital. What are they gonna do? Be mean to you?
Yeah. You have a kid in there.
Because like, what if you do have your baby? That was
Yeah.
my whole thing. Like each time, I was wrong. I think because I wanted to be done being pregnant. I was like,
You're
no,
like, fuck it, just
I'm
take
in labor. Like I need to go. But they were so nice. They're like,
Yeah.
no, like go home. But they check to see if you're dilated, and I only ever. Some women like go to the doctor and they're at like a 6 out of 10, and then they go home and they still like. I barely got to a 1 at like 40 weeks pregnant.
Damn.
At 40 weeks, I was barely at 1, and he literally like I was barely at a 1, so it was just not happening for me. But like that's what happens. They check and make sure you're dilated or whatever. If you're not, something else you can do to like make it happen faster is what's called a membrane sweep. This is like real detail.
Membrane?
Yeah, so you've got the baby in the sack of water or whatever fluid.
Okay.
It's attached to your uterus. The doctor can take their like hand and like sweep and unattach that sack from your uterus. It hurts.
With their hand?
With their finger. Because like, I mean, technically
What?
if there's a big enough opening, they can do that.
They can reach that far?
Depending on how open your cervix is. So mine, he like, I think tried his best. And like, so that was supposed to help.
I don't think I understand the anatomy of
It's
this.
crazy.
The baby, because, never mind. I don't know.
And also
The
they need
baby
to
is
check-
only like an inch away from the,
Yeah.
like you can
You're
reach.
like, yeah, okay, so that's another thing. The baby's head comes down.
Oh,
so it's not all the
okay.
way up here. That's another thing that happens.
That's
before
still
you have
confusing.
your baby. The baby comes, like the
Yeah.
baby's body, your uterus kind of comes down farther so they can come out. So anyways, I'm like 40 weeks and my doctor's like, I don't want you to go over 41 weeks because that's not safe really. There's like whatever can happen. So I ended up getting induced, which is like so many people are like, don't get induced. It's so bad for you. There's so many complications. And then other people are like, I love getting induced. I like it made it so much easier for me, whatever. So I don't know. It didn't work out that great for me, but I don't regret it. But basically what you do when you get induced is you go to the hospital, you get your scheduled day to give birth, and then you go in usually the night before. So you go in at night, you assume you're going to have the baby the next day.
That seems kind of nice.
Oh, it
yeah,
was.
I'm like, yeah.
The idea of it is super nice because also it changed from like, oh my God, is my baby coming to like, okay, I know
Yeah.
what is going to happen. And so you get the call, which is also crazy. It's so fucking surreal. You get the call and you're like, hey, you're going to have your baby in the next 24 hours.
Oh,
And so
fuck.
like, yeah, no, it was like, oh my God. Okay. So we start going to the hospital and that's when I'm kind of like, I don't think I'm going to go with you guys. I think I'm just going to hang out here. I don't think I'm going to go to the
I think
hospital.
I'm going to chill. I think
I
we're good.
decided I don't want to
I'm going to
anymore.
raise my baby inside
She
of myself.
can live in here. She likes it here. She doesn't want to come out either. She's very happy there. So I start freaking out. We're like all packed in like I got matching pajamas with Abby, my sister, and my mom. And at my hospital, how it worked was you get one primary person who gets to stay with you 24 hours, and you get 2 visitors at a time. So me, my mom, and Abby, and then Jonah was my primary person. Which it was hard to pick between Jonah and my mom. I have to be honest. I had to pick Jonah because he's the dad. But I was
Yeah,
like,
it's his kid,
I
but
kind of want my mommy.
Yeah.
Anyways, they let my mom and Abby stay overnight in case the baby came. So you go in and you're given what's called Pitocin, which is basically artificial oxytocin, which is the chemical that makes you give birth. So like it's like
artificial.
to make it's kind of supposed to like trick your body into going into labor. So they
Okay.
put your like the strap on your belly that monitors your baby. Then they put like they're monitoring your contractions. So so they start giving you the Pitocin and then they start doing other things. Like if that doesn't progress. So I got the Pitocin for, I don't know, hours. This part is like such a blur to me. And like, I got the Pitocin. I ended up having I switched nurses by the time my doctor finally came in, and he was like, the doctors are not there that often also. It's the nurses who do the job. I love my doctor, like so much. I love my doctor, but those nurses did the
Those
fucking
are the
work.
real.
They helped me have my baby, except for the surgery because they can't perform surgeries. But they come in and they wait for you to get to a 10 before you start pushing. So the whole
A 10 centimeters?
10 centimeters dilated, which guess how big that is? It's the size.
Yay big.
It's the size of a bagel. Is how much you
I was
dilate.
perfect
You're pretty
then.
close.
Yeah.
So they're waiting for you to dilate so you can push, and
Is that how it's supposed to be how big their head is? The baby's head?
about. But
Damn.
I know.
That's
right.
pretty big.
So it's like you wait to dilate, and then you start pushing. So I waited and waited and waited, and nothing was really happening. And they're like checking. And then all of a sudden, like me and Abby and Jenna and my mom, we all like slept for like 5 hours. And then the nurse came in and I was at a 10 and they're like, hey, time to push. So I literally just woke up and I was at a 10 and then it was like, hey, time to push. So you have to push. And I forgot about the epidural. You get an epidural. I ended up I'm off topic. My timeline's wrong. Okay, so they're checking for your dilation, and then my doctor came in and broke my water. Have you heard of like when your water
that's when
breaks?
you like just leak a bunch.
So that happened, and I was at 3 centimeters, and they're like, I thought I was gonna be one of those people who didn't get an epidural. That's like the numbing thing.
Yeah, you would just tank it.
I was like, I think I'm gonna get one at like 6 or 7. I'm gonna wait as long as I can. I was at like a 2, and they broke my water,
like,
and I had real contractions, and I was like, nope, it's time. Like right fucking now. Like real contractions. If you're a woman, it's like having a period times like 50.
Really?
And if you're a man, if you've ever gotten cramps from having to poop so bad, it's that times
That's what
a
it
million.
feels like?
Times a million. Like it is
That's
literally like it's so painful. And you're just like, okay, like, all right, it's time to be done. And then so as soon as my water broke, it was like real contractions. And I was like, oh my God, like I need to get my epidural.
Avery told me about how like sometimes when they give women epidurals, they can accidentally like paralyze them.
Yep,
That
can happen. I know.
That's
but
terrifying.
Honestly, again, like if you don't like the doctors around you when you're pregnant, fucking change them. Because the only thing that was like my saving grace was I liked the doctors I had. And I got an epidural. The guy like talked me through it, but he brought in a student teacher because it's like a teaching school. And he's like, do you mind if he's here? And I was like, no, I don't mind, but he cannot give me this fucking epidural. But then it made me feel better that the guy who was giving it to me must be good because he's
teaching someone.
I was like, this other guy can't fucking touch me. He can be here, but no. So we're sitting there and like.
Did you say that in front of him?
No.
Oh, I
was just like, you're giving it, right? And he goes, yes. I was like, okay, fine.
You're
then,
like, you little fucker, you can't.
Not you, sir. I don't trust you. And then I'm getting my epidural, and Abby, my sister, literally almost passes out. She's sitting there, and I'm like hanging over. They like make you bend over, and my mom's holding me. And they try to make my mom sit down, and we basically are like, no, I need my mom. So she's like, no, I'm not gonna sit down. They're like, you're really supposed to, and she's like, no, I'm right here. So my mom's holding me like this, and I'm not watching. This is the most scared I've been about anything. And Abby is literally behind me going, oh God, oh my God, oh my God. And then I felt the pinch and she goes, oh my God. And she like sits down and I'm like, are you fucking serious, dude? And she's just like, Ashley, oh my God, like the whole time. And I'm like, who the fuck is getting who's getting this put in their spine? It was crazy.
That's so funny.
But then once I got that was amazing.
Oh,
literally
okay.
the fucking best.
You couldn't feel anything?
No, it was awesome.
That's awesome.
And then they like give you like this like thing to push so you can get more medicine. So I could control how much of the like dose I was getting, so I could still kind of feel the contractions because I wanted to, so I could feel how to push or whatever. So like you're supposed to push with your contractions, so I wanted to kind of feel it, so I didn't totally numb down. And then I get the epidural, I get to a 10, and I start pushing, and like they teach you how to push. The nurse who helped me push was literally the coolest person in the world. The way she like. Before I started pushing, she gave me like this beautiful speech about like how cool it is to be a mom, how powerful it is.
Wow.
It was awesome. It was actually, when you have a good nurse, it is like so fucking life-changing. I think about the nurses who help me give birth literally every day. I love them so much. Like I literally think about them all the time. If you're out there,
what does pushing feel like? Is it just
like
is
you're
it like
trying to poop?
Really?
Yeah.
But out like front poop?
Yes. And also like you can feel the pain and you're supposed to like push with the pain.
Really?
Yeah. And also they say you have to give birth on your stomach or on your back, but some women prefer to do it otherwise. You can do it with an epidural if you're doing it safely. So I decided I wanted to push on my hands and knees, and some people would tell you not to. You're supposed to. It's way better
I don't know why that's
it's way better for you.
Okay.
Crazy.
No, I believe you.
But technically you can't feel your legs. So I went pushing my hands and knees
around.
and then my nurses got me up and I fucking did it. And the doctor came in and he goes, I've never seen anyone push on their hands and knees with an epidural before. I told him it wasn't possible. And my nurse was like, again, nurses being awesome. They're like, well, she wanted to, so we made it happen for her. Like, obviously they had to make sure it was safe enough to. But it was crazy. It was really cool.
You're doing stuff that no one's seen. That's kind of funny. You're like the Kobe Bryant of.
I was like, I can do this. Except for I didn't succeed in that.
Well, yeah.
Like I tried my best. I really gave it my all. But then what ended up happening is I was fully dilated. I was pushing, like I was really pushing. And she just like did not want to come out. Like she just was not. And I think what they ended up saying was her head wasn't fitting through, which is fucking crazy. What did women do before C-sections?
They just, I don't know.
It
What
was
did they?
dangerous.
They
Like,
just
I
wrapped
think
it
about
up,
like,
went home.
they just decided,
They're
never
like,
mind.
we'll just.
So it was like crazy. And he was just like, it's just, she's not, I'm sorry. So then I had to have a C-section, which I was not mentally prepared for at all.
Yeah.
I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm so scared of surgeries and all of that. And I was just like, it happened so fast. I didn't even have the chance to be scared. It was crazy. And it was crazy because also at that point, it's kind of scary because they have to like move fast because it can be really dangerous after that. So it was like,
Yeah.
what really kind of spooked me was when we decided, I was like, hey, I pushed for 2 hours. And then it was like, hey, you're going to have a C-section. And it was like, whoop, okay. And then out the door. Like they all of a sudden moved so fast. And it was like, oh, it was crazy. And Jonah has a video of me getting wheeled out to the C-section. And I just like,
You're like,
my eyes, I'm not home. It's the craziest thing. And I'm just like, okay, here we go. So they give me like the actual numbing where you can't feel anything. So I couldn't feel anything from my legs down at that point after they switched to the different thing. And at one point my epidural ran out before I got to my C-section. And I was so nice before that. And then when my epidural ran out, I was like, fuck this. Fuck you guys. Fuck it. Like I was screaming at everyone. And then they came in and gave me, it was crazy. Cause I was like, this is okay. I can do this. And then the medicine ran out and I was like, what the fuck? Like, oh my God, what the fuck? This is the worst. And then they came in, fixed that.
They give you a re-up.
Yeah, so they gave me like the real thing for
like,
surgery.
nice.
So it was like, then you can't feel anything. It's different than whatever they were giving me. But it's through your spine still. So they gave me like the completely numbing thing. And then I got so tired, I almost fell asleep because I had been awake for 24 hours. And I was like, I'm falling asleep as my daughter's being born. And I was like, I am so exhausted. And they were like, you can fall asleep. And I was like, fuck no. I literally my baby's about to be born. And I like, it was crazy. But see, so that's my experience with laboring and the pushing and everything. I could have, if that was the only thing I would have done, it wouldn't have been like I wouldn't even say I had a traumatic experience, but I wouldn't have felt like it was so hard if it was the only thing I did.
If it was
really
just
hard,
give birth
but I totally could do it. I was like, okay, I see how people can do that. So laboring, like, you can do it. You can totally do it. But then same with the C-section. Like after looking back on it, I'm like, that was not that bad compared to like just all of it together.
Yeah.
Right.
If you just did one or the other.
Yes. If you just did one or the other, it's
that's
like,
what,
okay.
Yeah. My mom said that. Yeah, with me it was like fucking awful.
Yeah.
But then she had my sister, and she said like they just had a day and they just went in and did the C-section, and she said it was a piece of like she was so.
Some people go back and try to have vaginal births after their C-section.
But it's like easy, right? They just like with C-section to redo it.
Yeah, redoing a C-section is like fine, but some people want to go back and try to like labor without a C-section after a C-section, and I can't imagine that because I don't want to do all that again. Like, I know that it didn't work out the first time, so, like, I just, like, would rather just, like, at this point have a C-section again. And it's also, like, a pretty intense surgery. They cut through 5 layers of you.
Yeah. I didn't even know we had that many.
I know, me neither. And then they get to your abdominal muscles, and they, like, pull them apart, and then they
put them back? How do they put those back?
Sometimes women, after they give birth, I think it's C-section or not, they have it's muscle something. Where like the muscles like are not connected anymore, but like your body heals it or whatever. But what was crazy about my C-section is they got her out pretty fast. Like it was like 5-10 minutes.
That's
tops.
crazy.
Yeah, and I could not feel any pain, but I could. If you get queasy, like people.
Oh, you mean just in general?
If you get queasy listening to this, like it is kind of a lot. But I could feel them moving. Things like it's kind of gross. I could feel them moving my bones.
Your bones? They move the bones around?
Well, they have to like kind of like get her out. I could feel my hip bones. I could feel the pressure on my bones. Like it was so crazy. And like my mom kind of prepped me because she had a C-section. She's like, you can feel, but you're not in pain. And it's crazy. Ugh, I could feel them moving out of my body. It was crazy. And then So you have like this like drape so you can't really see it. Jonah watched the whole thing though.
That's
Also,
crazy.
he was like, he's really good in medical situations, oddly enough. He just like was fine.
Yeah,
It was
good for
crazy.
him.
He just like, he's sitting there with me and then he'd like peek out and he's like, oh, they're almost done. And they're like cutting it. Like my body is like open. Like it was crazy. But then they like get her out. They put her on my chest and she's not crying because she's still connected to like, it was
Because she still thinks she's inside.
Yes. So
What
my
the
doctor
hell?
was so nice because it freaked me out. And he's like, it's okay that she's not crying. It's okay that she's not breathing. Like, it's okay. And he literally said that until she cried. He was like, you're okay. She's fine. She's fine. And then it felt like forever, but I guess it wasn't that long. And then she finally cried and he's like, oh, and then they like whisk her away to like wherever to do the baby checkups, which is like a drive up window in the OR. Like there's like a window, they grab the baby, they shut the door.
Really?
And then
You're like, hey, that's
yeah,
my guy.
I was like,
Bring that
"Wait,
guy
here
back.
she is." Yeah, that's mine. And then they sew you back up, which took forever. That was the craziest part. Like I'm sitting there. This was the hardest part, honestly, for the C-section is I'm sitting there and they're sewing me back up and I'm looking at my baby. I'm looking at Jonah holding her and I'm like, I can't hold her. Like I'm just like,
That's so
and they put
sad.
it in my face and I'm like loving her, but I'm just like, are you guys fucking done sewing me up yet? Like, are you done?
Yeah.
Are you done?
Let me
And they're
hold
like-
my baby.
I like asked him like 3 times and again like I talked about how much I love my doctor. I really do love him. And he's like I know, but we have to like whatever.
we have
like,
to fix your
we have to like put you back
your
together.
body's open.
Essentially. But what's so funny also, there's a couple weird things about C-sections. First off is how fucking casual they are, which I guess is a good thing because obviously like if they weren't, I'd be worried.
Yeah.
But we get in, there's like nurses, I'm not like offended by this. I thought it was kind of cool, but it is crazy. Like I'm giving birth to my child. I'm like bringing her into the world. And the doctors are like, it was Father's Day weekend. They're like, oh, what'd you do for Father's Day? And they're literally cutting me open. And they're like, oh, I went golfing. Or like, oh yeah, I had to work that way. Like they're just like, and
Yeah.
my
Can we
my
take this a
guts are
little
on the
bit
table,
more?
and I'm just like, what the fuck? Like it was crazy.
Yeah. Can this be a little more serious? I'm
Like,
I'm leaking.
So I guess we're good because
Yeah.
you're not freaking out.
I guess maybe that's is a
Crazy.
good thing.
And there's like, oh, it was crazy. It was crazy.
That's funny.
But I did have a really nice anesthesiologist. I started freaking out and he gave me oxygen, even though he didn't need to. I was like freaking out. He's like, I can put oxygen on you, just make you feel better. So they're really nice, but it's just an average day for them. Like
Yeah.
they're literally just like, just another day
Yeah,
at the
they
office.
probably did like 2 of those
Yeah,
yesterday.
exactly. Literally,
Yeah.
like that's just like same thing as yesterday. Like it's crazy. So that's everything that goes on, and then you have to stay in the hospital. I stayed for 3 days, and they took her. Staying in the hospital is crazy, and it is fucking crazy. Like when you're pregnant, you can like you bond with your baby, and like you can feel her kick and all that stuff. But then she's like there. And you've never loved something more in your life. You really haven't. Like you just like are so in love, but then you're also so fucking scared
Yeah.
because like the thing you care about the most in the entire world, you've never taken care of. You've never
And now you
were,
have
in
to.
charge of. You are in charge of the most precious thing in the world and you don't know how to do it. So you're just sitting there like, holy shit, like it's crazy. It's so crazy.
That's so stressful.
it is.
That's like, yeah, that's the thing I'm worried about.
Yeah, no, you're just like, wow. But you get it. And then like you kind of like what was interesting for me was I talked about how much I love the nurses and I really did, but each nurse kind of has an opinion on how to do things. And you can tell the maternity nurses who are moms because they're very much more like, you know, listen to your baby, you know, do its best. And then the other ones are like, no, you have to.
Oh yeah, they're like
on
by the
schedule.
books.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't. Like, oh yeah. So it's a really cool experience. So, and it also kind of helped me learn how to trust to be a mom pretty quick. Like I keep talking about how great my nurses were. So, but it's true. I loved.
No,
my
that's
nurses
good.
so
That would
much.
suck ass if they were bad.
I did have one bad one the night that I had her. It was crazy. I loved my nurses that day. They were perfect. And then I got the same nurse on the day shift that I had the night before on my induction. So I really liked her too. But then I got moved to maternity and I got a floater nurse, which means she was like in between different hospitals. So they were really busy.
Interesting.
But it was like at that point, your visitors have to leave. So my mom had to leave, which was like so foreign to me. I was like Jonah's her dad, and I'm glad he stayed the night. Like I know Jonah was supposed to, but I could not believe that my mom was gonna leave.
Yeah.
I could not believe it, and I was just looking at her like, "Are you serious? Like my mom's gonna leave?" And I just had like this super intense surgery, the super intense like 24 hours.
Yeah, and then
my
your
mom
mom
has to
gets
fucking
kicked
leave.
out.
It was crazy. And then that nurse, like, I was also coming down from pain medicine. So I was like shaking. I was like, and it was my first night with my baby. And they check on you. They're supposed to check on you every 2 hours. She did not.
Really?
And she like, and I was bleeding. You bleed a lot after you have your baby. You just like C-section or not, you bleed a lot. And
that makes sense. Yeah.
She didn't like, you're supposed to like wear like adult diapers basically. She didn't put me in one of those. So I'm just bleeding on the bed.
Ew.
It was not good. So that first night was a little rough, but Jonah like kind of stepped up and was like there. So that was like, I wasn't by myself, but like Jonah doesn't know what's going on either. I needed like a nurse.
Yeah.
So, first night, not my favorite experience, but the night after that, everyone was like fucking amazing. But I had this one nurse that I was like, it was my last day at the hospital. And I was like, I don't know, like I'm just getting so many different opinions. Like I don't know what to do. I don't know, like I feel like one person will tell me this and then another, like with breastfeeding, with her sleeping, all of that. And the nurse was so nice. She was just like, you know what, like you're the mom.
You'll figure
She's
it
your
out.
baby, like
That's
like,
so
you don't
nice.
need.
Yeah,
I was
that
so
is
nice.
cute.
And I like didn't realize how much I needed to hear that. I was like, yeah, I am her fucking mom. Like these people, like with the best of intentions, most of them, honestly, like they're not her mom.
Yeah.
So it was just so nice to hear, like, no, like I need to trust myself. Like, so it was really good. And like, it was also nice. The pediatricians come in once a day. I actually liked staying at the hospital an extra couple days. Cause
It seems like
they
helpful.
check on her a lot. They
Yeah.
check on me a lot. And like, they give you like, they give her vitamin K shot and like her, like, they give her like eye goopy things. I don't remember what that was for, but her eyes got really goopy. And yeah. And then everyone came to visit. You came to visit, which was so funny. And then we snuck a lot of visitors in a couple of
Yeah,
times.
I know. There was like 8 people in there when I was in there. And you're only supposed to have 2.
You guys were coming in, and our nurses were like, honestly, it's fine as long as you're not like hard. Like there's not. It was during the summer, so no one was sick. So we kind of talked to like some of the nurses, and they're like, you know, like try to be like, but you know, and then so we had like a few extra people, but then some people came, like there was like a miscommunication. So then all of a sudden there's so many people in the room, and then they did kick people out.
They were mad.
But then recovery also from a C-section is fucking insane. I didn't get out of the bed till like a day later, I don't think. And then they give you these like things on your legs so you don't get blood clots, which was also weird. They're like balloons. Like,
oh yeah, I remember
up.
I saw.
They were weird. And then
Yeah.
I tried to like go on walks every day, which was like, I kind of pushed myself because I just didn't want to be in the bed anymore. You know when you're sick for so long and you're
Yeah,
like,
I hate
I just
that.
want to move.
Yeah.
So I kind of did that, and then that kind of was not the best idea. And then what else? I got really, really sick. But
Oh
that's
yeah, from ibuprofen and
yes,
stuff. Yeah.
I almost died later, but that's like a different. I don't know. It's kind of a long story. That's maybe a story for a different day. But I will say.
Oh wait, no, you go ahead.
No, it's okay. I will say, to prevent stuff like that, what happened to me was kind of rare. But listen to yourself. Like if you think something's wrong and the doctors are telling you just hydrate or just it's hormones. If you know your body. I mean, even if you've never had a kid before, you know your body. So advocate for yourself because I literally.
You're like fucking, I'm dying. Help.
Yeah, I was like, something's wrong.
That's what.
But yeah, and then you get to take home this beautiful baby, and she's just there for the rest of your life. It's still fucking crazy to me. Like, it's so weird. I feel like she's just like so part of things, but also at the same time, I'm like, it's so, I don't know. It's crazy. And your baby's a new person every day, and it's just really fun. It's really fun. And
It
also,
seems.
it's super intense, but it's really, really cool. It's like it was the hardest thing and the best thing I've ever done. Like ever. So,
Which is good. I would hope so. That'd be.
Right?
You're like it was like whatever. Like having a kid is whatever. I'm more into
like,
painting.
I'm more
It's
into
like
painting.
that's not good.
For me, Like, I know
My
well,
baby's kind of like my side project.
It's like fine, like whatever. But yeah, I guess that's it. Do you have any questions?
No, I did actually want to. Do you care if I tell a quick hospital story?
Yes.
So, well, not hospital, it was just the doctors. But so when I think I was 16 or 17,
Yeah.
and there was just like a few weeks. It was going on for a few weeks where like every couple days I would just have, I would have crazy pain in my dick. Like it just hurt. So it was like awful. Like I had to go home. Like I had to like skip classes because it hurt so bad. And then one day I got that. Like sometimes it would happen at night, and I would just like go get in the shower. I was like, I don't know what to do.
Oh no.
And then one day I like was late for class because it happened again. It would happen like every few days. And then I was peeing and it was just blood in the shower.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I was like, oh
What?
fuck. So I went to the doctor, And I was like, yeah, I'm peeing blood and stuff. And I was like, but I kept telling them about how I had the really bad pain. And the doctors were like, they kind of just ignored that. But I was like,
Yeah.
just so you guys know, like it hurts too. But they're more curious about like the peeing part, which is fine. And then like the doctor was like,
it got you to the doctor.
yeah,
I guess
the doctors are like, yeah, it's probably like, it's either like a UTI or a kidney stone, but like, or it could be like a prostate infection or something. And then they're like, so we're
going to probably kill you.
I don't know.
I don't know.
So the doctor is like, I'm going to give you a prostate exam. And so I'm like, oh, a prostate. And I was like 16. So I'm like, a prostate exam.
cool.
Yes. My balls is what I thought a prostate was. So like, I guess you don't. But like when a doctor gives you a physical, they'll just put their hands in your, well, actually, no, that's another thing is that my doctor, when they would give me a prostate exam, they would just put their hands down my pants. And I told that to one of my friends.
Cough?
Yeah, and they would have you
Cough?
cough.
That's
But my
so
friend said they would just have your like pull your pants all the way down. But my doctors would put it down my pants,
Give
which
me
is
privacy.
weird. But thinking about it is weird. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
Anyways, I thought a prostate exam was the coughing thing. And then he was like, so yeah, will you put your elbows on the
no.
bed? And I was like, yeah. So
Sure.
I was like,
When do I
well,
cough?
I was like, what a weird angle to touch my balls. So I put my elbows on the thing, and I don't know, getting a finger in your butt when you have no idea that's coming is crazy. Like, cause I was like, this is super weird. So I'm like this, and then the guy puts it, and then I just like, whoa. And he puts his finger in my hand, in my butt, and he just like wiggles it for a second and pulls it out. And I was like, it was crazy. I was so shocking. And then like I think they like lube their finger or something because it was kind of wet. And then he was talking.
I think they have to.
And he was talking to me. He like gave me a paper towel or like a box of tissues, and like he was talking to me, and he's like, "Yeah, you can wipe." And I wiped while talking to him. It was so weird. I did not
so
like
funny.
that at all.
But I mean, to doctors, honestly, a body's just a body.
Yeah.
Right? They're just like, it's another butthole.
Yeah, another
seen
butthole
too
I
many
gotta
of these
go
today.
in. But it's just like, yeah, it was just so weird.
It's so funny. Wow.
Anyways,
Wow.
then I did end up having a UTI, which is
That's what it
really
was?
rare for men.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
was
1% of men
Yeah,
get.
men do not
Yeah.
get UTIs.
So that sucked. I don't know.
Wow, well, now you know.
Yeah, now I know that I
It's kind
could.
of frustrating. I feel like doctors are not. I know I said I love my doctor. I did love my doctor. But then talking to other doctors during that time, I was just like, dude, I'm sick. Like,
Yeah.
help me.
I know that's
It's
yeah.
crazy.
Cause then I like went. They made me go get a X-ray for a kidney stone, and like
yeah.
they had me write it down, and I would like write down what was wrong, and I like wrote down the thing, and they're like about how it hurts, and they're like, it doesn't really matter. I'm like, why
It does
not?
To me.
It
It matters
sucks.
to me. Like, I don't
It
feel
hurts.
good.
Yeah.
What's
Like,
going on?
but I mean, it did get fixed, I guess, so it was fine.
That's true. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm still kicking, so
Yeah,
they did something right.
they did heal you.
Crazy. Okay, so what happened to me postpartum is I ended up back in the hospital, because I was getting really sick every day. Which, by the way, if you're pregnant and you're watching this, I don't think we get that many viewers, but if you are, you're gonna be fine. This is not to scare anyone. It's just like advocate for yourself, because I feel like I would have been fine if I wasn't gaslighting myself or being gaslit, because both of those things were happening. But I basically was getting sick every day. I'd seen you. We were like going up to Idaho and like doing all that stuff, and I
Yeah.
just couldn't do anything.
I know you were.
I was so
Shambles,
sick.
yeah.
I was. And like everyone was just like, "Oh, you're postpartum. Like you just had your surgery from your C-section." But then I like couldn't stomach food, and like I threw up every day, and I finally called a doctor, and it was never my doctor, because the way it lined up, like you call the office and you talk to the doctor on call, and mine was just never on call. So I never got to talk to my doctor, which was also frustrating.
Yeah,
but
that
I mean,
sucks.
like that was just what it was. But the doctor on call was like, I think your like hormones are still like whatever, like call again in a week. And in a week, I was still throwing up every day, like at the same time. It was like clockwork. Like every day I'd get really sick, I'd throw up, and then I'd feel better. But it was just like, I was not holding down food. I
Yeah.
lost like 30 pounds
Holy
in like
fuck.
2 weeks.
That's
Which,
wild.
by the way, also, if you meet a mother who's postpartum, do not comment on their weight losing or gain. Like, don't comment on it at all, because I think people thought like, oh, she's lost weight, so it's like a good thing, right?
Yeah,
Don't.
but not if you feel like terrible.
No, I was like, great, thank you. I'm glad you think I look good. I am actively dying. Well, I didn't know at the time, but I was like, I felt like such garbage, and people were like, you look so good. And I did not look good. I had no color in my like body. But I was 30 pounds lighter. So people were like, you look so good.
Yeah. It's
No, shut up. Don't comment on women's weight ever, especially after they have a baby. Don't do it. So anyways, people are like, you look so good. I'm like, thanks. I feel like complete garbage. I feel like shit. So then I call again. They could take me in to get blood work. And my blood levels were low, but barely low. Like, I think whatever it was, your hematocrit, hemoglobin, one of those two was a 10, and the lowest average is a 12. So I was like, they're like, okay, you're a little anemic. You were anemic before. Go home, drink some water. And I was like, great, okay. What am I supposed to do about feeling like complete garbage?
Yeah.
And that's why I'm like, okay, why can't I hold down food? They're like, eat some iron. I'm like, I literally can't eat, but whatever. I guess I don't know what they would have done because my blood work was fine. But 24 hours after that, my dad looks at me the night before everything like really happened, and he goes, Ashley, you really don't look good. Like, you do not.
Really?
And my mom was like, yeah, like we were all talking. Me, my mom, Jonah, and my dad were like, okay, you need to go to the hospital again tomorrow. In the morning, at like 5 in the morning, I like throw up blood like everywhere.
Fuck.
And I like, it was really scary. It's kind of traumatic, actually, when I think about it. But anyways, but I'm fine now.
Not if you don't think too hard. Yeah.
Too hard. It's
then
fine.
Then it's funny.
But I throw up blood everywhere. We call my mom. Eloise, my baby, is 3 weeks old. She's never taken a bottle ever.
Oh yeah,
and
I remember that.
We call my mom. She comes to take the baby. Jonah takes me to the ER. I'm so weak, I can't get down the stairs.
Damn.
Like, I get out of my bed, and then I have to sit down. And like, I was so weak, I couldn't move.
That's
get
so
to the
wild,
hospital.
dude.
It was so, and I couldn't see. I started blacking out, and I felt like that sense of dread. And then I get to the hospital, and we park the car in front of the thing. I have to get a wheelchair to get in. Like, I can't move.
Oh my god.
Then I pass out in the wheelchair. We get in. We get my blood work in the ER. My blood volume or whatever the thing was at, and a 10. I had went down to a 2 or a 3.
That's even possible?
Apparently.
That's wild.
So
Where did it all go?
Essentially almost bled to death.
Yeah.
It was crazy, but it was internal bleeding, and I guess it was like in my like poop. And my throw up. Ew.
Your poop.
So I was bleeding, and like, so then I was in the hospital for 3 days, but without Eloise, which was really sad.
Yeah, that's stressful.
So
3
sad.
weeks in.
It was literally, that was the worst part. Like, I hated being away from Eloise, but she took a bottle really good, and that was great. And then I came home. She ate normally after that. But yeah, I was in the ICU for 3 days. I got 4 bags of blood, and the average body holds 7. So I really had to get a lot.
Damn. That's why.
I guess, like, yeah, it was crazy.
That's so many.
But it's crazy because I think back on it, and I'm like, I don't know what I would have done differently, I guess. And, like,
I mean, yeah, you tried your best.
Right. And, like, I guess I don't know what the doctors would have done either.
Yeah, because there's nothing really to tell until it's, like, really bad.
And that's what I think is hard about medical stuff is it's like, and I don't know, but I did talk to a mom about it once, and she was very much like, you know, if a woman's calling to a doctor to say they're sick, something's really wrong with them. Women, like, do not call, especially moms. Like, I was like, I hate calling doctors when I'm sick. I'm like, I'm fine. So if I'm calling to a doctor, I'm pretty sick.
Yeah, like
but it was crazy. And then, yeah, I had to, like, pump while I was in the hospital, and I had a weird nurse who was weird about me pumping.
Really?
Yeah, did I ever tell you that story? Do we have time for that story?
No, probably.
Okay.
Well, there's only 5 minutes left. Yeah.
Well, then that's for a different story. I had a nurse who was weird about that. But then I came home and I got to see my baby. So
yeah, that's nice.
It all worked out in the end.
It all worked out.
But it was crazy. But if you're pregnant and you're watching this, again, like, I don't know if anyone will, but it's fine and you're okay. Just, like, listen to your own body.
Yeah.
And,
just,
like,
you know,
fuck the doctors. I mean, not fuck the doctors, but, like, you best.
Not fuck the doctors, because you will need them.
Because you need them, and they did save my life and my baby. But, like,
but you just have to get in the process. Yeah.
Listen to yourself. Because I was like, oh, maybe I am hormonal. No, like, I felt like
you were
shit.
bleeding to death, so.
But I'm okay now. I'm fine now. Eloise is, like, perfect. She's the best.
She is. Yeah. I like her a lot. Yeah.
She's cool. She's really cool to have around.
I like you ditched her today.
I know. Well, she's with her grandma. She loves her. I know. Well, you guys could have hung out, but
yeah,
I guess not. But she got to see her grandma today, so she's happy.
Yeah, that's
and also, I feel like my last thing I will say is every woman I know who's given birth now, I look at them like they literally put the stars in the sky, because I literally cannot believe
They're goats.
we just walk around after that happened. Like, I walk around, I'm like, I fucking did that. And other women do that. And I just look at every mom and I'm just like,
Every mom did
do
it.
you know how
Yeah, it's
fucking
wild.
cool you are? Like, give yourself credit. Give moms credit. Like, dude, that's fucking hard. Like, yeah, you did it and life goes on, but like, holy fucking shit. You did it. Like, it's crazy.
It is crazy
It
to
is
think
crazy.
about every single person had to be born.
Yeah.
That's
that
why-
helped me, like, with how scared I was. I was like,
Yeah.
millions of babies. I don't know how many, really. But babies
Billions.
are born.
Let's say it.
probably
Millions every minute.
every minute. A lot of people are born.
Every day.
A lot of people are born.
Yeah.
So
Even
kudos
here.
to moms. Honestly, like, it's seriously so fucking cool. And kudos to me, because I did that. And kudos to Dylan, because he held Avery's elbow up when she held a baby one time.
Which
So,
is honestly
good for you.
braver than birth, I would say.
It's pretty brave.
Yeah.
To hold a baby is
Being
brave.
being a feminist as a man is braver than giving birth.
It's really
a lot of
brave.
people have said that.
You're very brave.
Yeah, I know.
Very brave guy. Do you have any other questions? Do we feel like there's anything else to... It was kind of a big episode. I didn't mean to spring it on you.
No, it's okay.
just
I think that was
thinking about
fun.
it, and I was like,
Yeah.
this is a good topic. There's a lot to talk about. I think a lot of moms need to hear realistic, not too scary, and also get credit. Again, I literally cannot stress this enough. Moms are so fucking amazing. Like, I literally cannot stress it
You
enough.
would say that.
Yeah, I would. You know what? Yes, I would.
And never mind. I won't even say
That's
anything.
good. No, we're good. That's enough.
Good job.
Thank you.
Good job.
Hey, thanks.
Well
I,
done.
I need my pat on the back of my ice cream.
Yeah.
I did get a popsicle after I gave birth
Really?
for being
And you're
brave.
worth it.
It all made it worth it.
It all made it
I got a popsicle after.
Yeah.
It was an orange popsicle. It was really good, actually.
Just like your baby.
Yeah,
She's orange.
because she's a redhead,
Yeah.
which is also cool. That was also funny when she like went into the little like, I call it a baby drive-through where they drop the baby.
Yeah, they go to McDonald's.
They
They
like
get
they
a
literally
large Coke and a
take
baby.
her out of your belly. They whisk her in there, which is like makes sense to make sure she's all good. And they whisk her and they shut the door. And then the nurse like opens the thing. They're like, "Whose baby is this? She's got such red hair." And Jonah's like, "That's me."
Oh my baby.
Not to mention how many people tell me she looks like her fucking dad, which is true. But
She kind of does, but that sucks because she came out of you. Yeah.
I tell this story and people are like, "She looks just like your dad," but she
I don't
does.
care.
Jo-
Who
Jonah's
cares?
constantly like, "She looks like you," and I'm like,
Oh, he's
"Thanks,"
sweet.
but she doesn't. She's like, "No, she does. She looks just like you." No, she doesn't. She looks just like Jonah, like just like
She
him.
does,
Which
yeah.
Jonah makes a pretty girl. Girl Jonah's really pretty.
Yeah,
Eloise
girl
is really
Jonah-
pretty. She's
Yeah.
gorgeous. So
She is cute.
it worked out. Gorgeous.
She's
Gorgeous.
gorgeous.
She is. Thank you.
No,
There
she
you go.
is.
She's really
She's
pretty.
a cute baby.
Okay. Well, thanks for listening. Dylan,
Yeah.
thank you for listening to women.
No problem.
You're
I
very
always-
brave.
I just can't stop.
Yeah.
It's-
You're very brave.
Yeah, that's probably good to end.
Good for
That's
you.
about
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
Next week, I think we will talk about Harry Styles.
Okay, that sounds good to me.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Hopefully, there's new news to report about him.
I hope so.
Get
too. I've
another
been waiting.
Get another shaved head picture of
Yeah.
Harry Styles. Which, by the way, I don't know if I talked about this last week. His picture that he posted finally of himself, it looks like he's trying to pose like Travis Kelce.
Oh really?
And like, I don't know. It looks a little Travis Kelce coded. And maybe not everything's about that. Maybe he's moved on.
What if he doesn't even know about Travis Kelce? You
That'd
don't know.
be crazy. If he one day was like, "Who is that?" I would die.
Yeah, it would be a lie probably.
It'd be a lie. It'd be a little bit of a lie. But I'm sure Harry Styles is happy. And you know what? His hair doesn't define him. I've grown
Doesn't look
since
like
last
he's
week.
happy. You've grown.
I've grown since
Wow.
last week. When I
I'm
cried
proud of
about
you.
his hair last week, I didn't mean that.
You were just
He's
kidding.
not his hair.
We were just goofing around.
Yeah.
I was too because I was pretty upset last week.
It's pretty sad.
But this
Well,
week,
but it's okay though.
yeah.
We love him. Hair, no hair.
Either
He's
way,
not his hair, even though that's what everyone loves about
even though his name is literally Harry Styles.
Yeah.
The
That's
style
okay.
of your hair.
Harry is not defined by his hair. No one is. In fact, Dylan is going to shave his head next week
Yeah,
to
we're
prove our
in
point.
solidation.
in solidarity.
Yeah, is that a word? I don't know. Doesn't matter.
Solidarity.
Solidarity. That's what I
Sounds
meant
right.
to say. Solidarity.
sounds right.
I'm glad you repeated it after me.
Yeah.
You made me feel that was really
Good.
confident.
You know,
Yeah.
one thing I can do is say anything confidently if it's
Yeah.
a fucking lie. Like, actually, okay, I know we're running out of time, but I did one time tell Abby and Jonah, my sister and Jonah, very confidently that Harry Styles and Taylor Swift committed vehicular manslaughter. That's a rumor.
You
But
were-
I
you thought it
literally,
was true?
I sold it with all my heart. I was like, you guys can look it up. It's real. It really happened. It
didn't. I think
not proven.
everyone would know that.
it would be on public record. But
Yeah.
there is a conspiracy that it happened somewhere in like the songwriting. And that was one
What
of the
the
times I
fuck?
had to be sympathetic to people in their 60s and 70s falling for those Facebook scams.
Yeah, 'cause you
because
were like,
I definitely believed it. I
happened.
was like, you know what? Yeah, that did happen. So sorry to Harry Styles, Taylor Swift, and
I don't think you killed anyone.
they probably didn't.
Not directly.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly. So yeah, I can say anything with confidence. I can gaslight anyone.
Yeah. Yeah,
Anyways.
you did earlier today.
I did.
Yeah.
I did gaslight you. And I'd do it again. And again.
I'm sure you will.
I probably will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I
I think
guess
that's good.
it. Yeah, I know.
Well,
Thanks for listening.
yeah. See ya.
Thank you.